Welcome to today's deep dive. So, I want you to picture a standard staff meeting. You've got like bagels, cream cheese, just people mingling.
Right. Totally normal Tuesday morning stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Until a 37-year television veteran just stands up and starts shouting that his bosses are, quote, murdering an American icon. Today, we are looking into the massive, very public shakeup at CBS's 60 Minutes.
I mean, and we're not talking about just anyone here. This was Scott Pelley, a guy with, 40 Emmys, like the most decorated correspondent in the history of the whole show.
Right, and reports say his famous newscaster voice was literally shaking with anger. He was openly clashing with the new executive producer, Nick Bilton.
Yeah, and he specifically argued to his face that the new editor-in-chief, Bari Weiss, was brought in just to kill the show completely.
And the very next day, Pelley is fired, just like that. But
Yeah.
he obviously didn't go quietly.
No, definitely not. He released this huge, lengthy statement after getting fired, and he dropped an absolute bombshell of a claim.
Right, the part about the story bias.
Yes. He alleged that new management explicitly instructed him to inject unverified falsehoods and deliberate bias into a politically sensitive story.
Which is just wild to even think about. I mean, it's like a hospital administrator walking into an operating room and telling a veteran surgeon, hey, I need you to intentionally use unsterilized tools today.
That is a great way to put it, honestly.
Hmm.
Because in journalism, verification is your sterilization. It's the absolute bedrock of what you do.
Right, and if you bypass that, you're not just breaking a rule, you're infecting the entire operation.
Exactly. And Pelley claimed he saw this infection spreading way before his own firing. His outburst was really just the explosion of a bomb that was planted back during what staff are now calling Black Thursday.
Yeah, Black Thursday. That was the sudden purge back in May, right? Where all those top-tier veteran journalists were suddenly let go.
Right, we're talking about heavy hitters. Correspondents like Sharon Alfonsi, Cecilia Vega, and executive producer Tanya Simon.
And Pelley called those dismissals cruel, right? I think he said it was the absolute definition of rudeness.
He did, yeah, because he claims they were silenced for standing up for editorial independence. And, Cecilia Vega actually backed him up on this.
Boy, she did. I missed that part.
Yeah, she stated that her own teams faced real pressure to insert political bias into stories over the recent months. So it's not just an isolated claim from a disgruntled employee.
Wow. Okay, so we have to ask why. And that brings us to the money, right? The Paramount and Skydance merger.
Bingo. Paramount is finalizing this massive takeover by Skydance under the new Ellison regime.
David Ellison, the tech billionaire's son.
Yep. And when you have legacy media merging with massive tech money, the whole business model usually shifts.
It shifts from adversarial journalism to access journalism.
Exactly. Pelley is basically alleging that the network is throwing away its legacy just to curry favor with the incoming Trump administration.
Because they need, smooth regulatory approvals for the merger.
Right. And mechanically, that means you want favorable political conditions. Pelley even claimed they're allowing politicians to handpick which correspondents interview them on the broadcast.
Which is just crazy. It's like an influencer move. But let me play devil's advocate here for a second, because we do have to look at management's side.
Oh, for sure. They have a completely different narrative.
Right. I mean, 60 Minutes is a 57-year-old brand. Linear TV is basically dying. Management, specifically Bilton and Weiss, they claim Pelley was fired for outright insubordination.
Yeah, they called it a performative display of hostility.
Exactly. And remarkable incivility. They're saying this isn't about journalistic ethics. It's just about a veteran anchor stonewalling a new approach for the 21st century. Don't they have a right to modernize their own format?
Well, they absolutely face immense pressure to survive. The media landscape is brutal right now, and they have to expand beyond traditional broadcasts to stay alive.
So the tension is really about how that modernization is actually executed behind the scenes.
Precisely. Offering friendly, hand-picked interviews might be a smart corporate move to avoid angering lawmakers holding the keys to your merger. But it totally changes the core of the show.
Which is why you, listening right now, should care about this boardroom drama. It actually dictates the reality of the news that makes it to your screen.
Because for half a century, 60 Minutes has been the internal compass for investigative journalism.
Right. The absolute gold standard.
Yeah. And when the magnetic north of an institution like that gets recalibrated by corporate pressure, it changes the baseline credibility of information everywhere.
And the fallout is already happening. Anderson Cooper is gone. The futures of remaining stars like Bill Whitaker and Leslie Stahl are totally up in the air.
It is a massive identity crisis for the news elite.
It really is. We started with this era ending over bagels and cream cheese, but the real story is who gets to control the conversation outside of that room. So here's a final thought for you to take away and mull over. If politicians are successfully handpicking their own interviewers on broadcast television, what happens to the foundational concept of an adversarial press in a functioning democracy?